Thank you, Mayor Lott, and to the commissioners, let us pray. We come tonight, oh God, giving you thanks for all that you've done for us. And we certainly ask that you continue to lead and guide us and protect us from hurt, harm, and danger. We ask that you bless our leaders tonight as they take care of our city business tonight. Bless them and keep them is our prayer. We also ask that you continue to keep us safe from hurt, harm, and danger as we move around through these traveling and tedious time. Oh God, we need you. We need your guidance. Bless our government tonight as they make decisions for our community. We'll just continue to give you praise, glory, and honor. We do thank you for tonight. And you said in all things, give thanks. Even during these times, we thank you, oh God, and we bless your name. For it's in your name we do pray. And all said, amen.
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 Attention, salute, pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Pastor Sykes, again, I want to thank you so much for leading us in prayer this evening, and we definitely also appreciate all your leadership in our community. So thank you so much, Pastor.
Thank you for having me. Have a great night.
Madam Clerk, next item.
Public comments.
Public comments for this meeting were accepted by electronic submission or mail to our city clerk and have been disseminated to the City Commission electronically prior to the start of tonight's meeting for review and inclusion into our meeting's official record. On behalf of the City Commission, we want to thank each and every one of you for your correspondence and reaching out to us. Thank you so much. Madam Clerk, what's the next order of business?
Consent agenda.
Before we consider the consent agenda, does any commissioner like to pull an item for further discussion?
Yes, Mr. Mayor, I'd like to pull item B for further discussion.
That's item B?
Yes.
Thank you. Any other item? Seeing none, the consent agenda still has item A and C on the agenda for approval. What's the pleasure of the commission?
This is Commissioner Mathis, and I'll make a motion to approve those two items.
Is there a second?
Second.
So we have a second by Commissioner Dotson. Okay, we have a motion to approve the consent agenda, items A and C. Is there any other discussion regarding these two items? Seeing none, Madam Clerk, will you take the roll call vote, please?
Mayor Lott,
Yes.
Commissioner Dodson,
Yes.
Commissioner Sparkman,
Yes.
Commissioner Mathis, Commissioner Mathis,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Kilton,
Yes.
And the consent agenda, including item A and C, is approved with a vote of 5-0. Commissioner Dotson, would you like to discuss item B?
Yes. I'll direct my inquiry with the city manager. Are you there, Mr. City Manager?
I am, Commissioner.
Okay. A note of congratulations, as much as anything, as each of the commissioners has seen in the report provided to us, there was $133,831 savings in the purchase of 5 generators. The part that I'm most curious about is that the budget for those generators were $401,788, and we're buying them for $267,957. So that's about a 33% savings total, $133,000 saved, and I'm really thankful for that and grateful that we were able to do so well. But I'm also very curious about how we did so well, considering how much we had it budgeted for, and why we're purchasing it for such a low price.
When we establish budgets, of course, things are basically built upon the retail pricing that is listed and in the public domain. But when we actually go to purchase, as is noted in the agenda report, we use our procurement department and we go through a variety of sources and contracts. In this case, we were able to buy these generators under a state contract, Florida Sheriff's Association contract specifically. And because those are statewide contracts with municipalities and counties and other governmental entities from the entire state, we basically get the benefit of that combined buying power for the pricing that is set in the contracts. And that is why we have the savings.
Yeah, it's a substantial savings. Typically, when we have those circumstances, we do pretty well. And I'm grateful for that as well. But typically, we don't end up saving 33%. Just curious to inquire about it. Just want to ensure that what we're getting is what we were looking for. It still meets the specifications of what the requirement for the generators were intended.
Yes, we have a very detailed specification for all of this type of equipment, our vehicles and so forth, and we do not buy less than the specification. The contract just gives us bulk buying power.
Okay, then. Well, congratulations. I'm happy to know that our procurement fellows and purchasing did such a fine job in saving such money. I'm sure we'll have some other intended uses for the savings as we move along forward. That's good. Mr. Mayor, I'll make a motion to approve item B on the consent agenda.
Okay, we have a motion. Is there a second?
Second, Your Honor.
Okay, Commissioner Sparkman seconding the motion. We have a motion to approve item B on the consent agenda as a separate item. Is there any further discussion? Seeing none, Madam Clerk, please do a roll call vote.
Mayor Lott,
Yes?
Commissioner Dodson,
Yes.
Commissioner Sparkman,
Yes.
Commissioner Mathis,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Kilton.
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay, and item B on the consent agenda was approved with a vote of 5-0. Madam Clerk, next item.
Reports of officers, boards, and committees.
Mr. City Manager, looking forward to hearing from you tonight.
Well, good evening, Mr. Mayor and Commissioners. It is a pleasure to be with you here for our virtual City Commission meeting, and I will try to keep my report succinct. I want to mention that as we deal with the COVID-19 incident, city staff continues to maintain services to our community. We have not only maintained the baseline, but continue to keep all of our services in operation. We are also continuing to move our projects forward. I was very pleased to say that one of those projects moving forward very quickly is the Sadie Gibbs Martin Community Center, and we have already entered into the planning phase for a dedication ceremony for that building, hopefully early summer, the way everything's looking, and hopefully getting beyond the COVID-19 incident to be able to host an event at that new building, unveil it, and dedicate it for public use. And I just want to say again, I'm extremely pleased and proud of our staff. They have maintained, as I said, all of our services. We continue to advance the city's projects, and we're doing this through a combination of, I think, determination and professionalism from the staff that I have the pleasure to work with, but also through modifications of our work spaces, practices, and as we're seeing tonight, the use of technology to allow us to continue to serve our community as well as move forward with other projects. Turning to my written report submitted to you, I will point out that you have attached quarterly reports from 7 community organizations that the city provides financial support to. Those are in the back of the report for your review. Again, these are quarterly, and we will continue to provide them on schedule so that you're aware of the money that is being used by these organizations. I also want to point out on the second page of that report, we received a complimentary email from Pastor Joe Kelly. He was writing to compliment our Recreation and Parks tree crew for their prompt response in dealing with a tree limb that had fallen in the right-of-way and was causing problems outside his residence. I was very happy to receive that, and I would say that's reflective of the level of service that we routinely get from not only our entire Recreation and Parks Department staff, but from this tree crews in particular. So just wanted to call that one out. And with that, I will allow the rest of the report to stand for itself, and I stand for any questions.
Thank you, Mr. City Manager. Commissioners, do you have any questions for the City Manager? Seeing none, thank you so much. City Attorney?
No report, Mr. Mayor.
Madam Clerk?
No report.
Commissioner Mathis?
Yes, good evening to all, and I really miss seeing you all, and I hope that you all are staying safe and you're all are well. Again, I want to thank the mayor for his leadership on our Hillsborough County EP Emergency Policy Group and all that he's doing and his leadership there. Thank you again to our city manager and all the city staff for keeping the city going. We really appreciate you. I want to bring up one comment from our last commission meeting. We had the report on our new garbage collection, and I think our citizens, they just want to know more about it. But what I've been telling everyone, and if the city manager would like to chime in or anyone else, that it is a year out, but our city staff will be doing training and emails and giving citizens information on how we're going to roll that out and the bins and what they're going to look like. So to all of the citizens that's listening, thank you so much for the questions, and we're glad that you're concerned about that rollout of that new program. But the city staff will be doing training to all of our citizens on just how it will work. And if you have any questions, you can call the city hall and speak to the city manager, and he will direct you to someone in that department. That is it for my comments, and that is it, sir. And everyone, please be safe out there. Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much, Commissioner Mathis. Commissioner Dotson?
Hey, good evening, everyone. Hope all is well. I do have a couple of items I'd like to bring up. First is for the city manager. I'd like to thank him as a follow-up to conversations we had going into this year's budget process. We talked about in the matter of our nonprofit organizations that we provide support for, that we would take an extra step in hearing from them on matters that we are interested in hearing about, as well as matters that they had been reporting in past that they would provide us with. And I think the format of the new reports were reflective of that. They are providing more information than we were seeing before, and all of them are now reporting. So I just want to thank the city manager for seeing that through. And then I'd like to just comment on the EPG meeting that I've been listening in on, each of them, and in particular today. I think there was some interest in possibly moving forward on rescinding the Safer at Home orders by that group, but the indication from the group was that I don't think it was time enough yet to do that, and awaiting more from the governor to follow their guidelines to move from a response mode to more of a recovery mode. And I'm sure the mayor will probably give us more of a briefing on what his thoughts were with the outcome of that meeting. So I look forward to hearing that. And those are the two things I wanted to bring up in tonight's meeting.
Okay, thank you, Commissioner Dotson. Commissioner Sparkman?
Yes, sir, Your Honor. Appreciate it. Yes. I would echo some of the comments I noticed in one of our comments from the public tonight. A citizen was concerned about the roll-off containers. As we have seen in the counties and different counties around, the containers can be unsightly and interfere with traffic flow and all the things that this lady mentioned in her letter to us, Mrs. Faye Cook. I concur with that, and it's something I commented on the first time we started that. And I would say to her and the rest of the city that we're anticipating that our city staff will come up with some type of code enforcement with regulations and all, but that will not be an unsightly occurrence here in Plant City. I think also all of our different homeowners association, Water Lake Master Association, and others would need to be made aware of it, and that they would make additional restrictions within their own communities, because it can be an eyesore, even though it has so much benefits. And the people that have called me and asked me about it, that's what I've indicated to them. So I hope we will be able to work with them, and I hope we'll get it right and get it done. It's really beneficial and keeps our city beautiful like it is today. I do want to commend our staff and the mayor for his leadership, especially on the EPC. That's been quite a full-time job for him, and just want to thank him and appreciate that. And want everybody out there to be careful and be safe, and let's get through this together. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir. Vice Mayor?
Thank you, sir. Really appreciate the comments earlier from our city manager, Bill McDaniel, noting that things are moving forward. I know we have a light agenda this evening, but for those that may be listening, want to assure them that city staff is working very hard to continue to keep things moving forward, so that when we eventually are able to open things up, that we're going to continue to be in a very good position, and remind everybody that we are very financially strong and well positioned for when the economy begins to turn around. So I want people to be encouraged by that, and it's because of good stewardship, good planning, and we are well prepared to weather the storm as it relates to the city. And really want to continue to encourage everybody in Plant City. I know it's very difficult for a lot of the business owners, for a lot of folks that might be, at risk, especially dealing with this. And I'm thankful for a lot of our nonprofit organizations, our churches, the food bank, pregnancy care center. I'm sure I'm going to leave a lot of folks out, but they continue to do just outstanding work to take care of everybody in Plant City. So if you have a little extra that you can share financially or food-wise or volunteer-wise, please reach out to some of those organizations and make sure that we continue to work together to meet the needs of our community. Again, Mr. Mayor, thank you for the hard work that you've been doing with the EPG. It goes without saying that from everybody else's comments that you've really stood up and have been really working hard for our community, full-time job. And, it's a difficult road to navigate, and especially based on a couple of the other comments that we had from the public comments. We had one comment that was really urging us to open things up immediately, and another comment that was urging us to take our time and to be slow about it. So, if we did a poll, it's probably 50-50, half the people on one side and half on the other. So it's a very challenging time to make decisions, and you're in a very difficult position, but I believe that you're very thoughtful about it, and you're working hard to make sure that you're making the right decisions for our community based on the facts that are relative to Plant City and Hillsborough County. And that's something that I really appreciate about you. And thank you for all that hard work. Those are my comments, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you very much. I appreciate all the comments. Now, I'll tell you that when we go into the meetings, knowing that you have the support of the community, the support of the commission allows you to be able to go in with the facts and be more confident when you speak on behalf of our community. So thank you so much. I was asked to make just a few comments about where we are as far as the EPG is at. Right now, we're still getting the data in on a daily basis. And right now, the order that we're operating on, as far as throughout the state and every single county, is the one that the governor issued. And so the order that we issued from the EPG right now is taking the backseat to the governor's order. And so we could at this time rescind that order, the Hillsborough County order, but we just feel like right now, since if we did so, there'd be confusion to think that, you know, that the governor's orders rescinded at the same time. So we decided to wait and get the governor's order. And once we have the governor's new order, which, you know, I mean, I don't think we can second guess on when that will be. Obviously, I think it's going to be sometime in the next 7 days. That's what that's the word that we're hearing from Tallahassee. And at that particular point in time, we'll have the new guidelines of how we're going to be moving forward, making sure that we take care of the health of our citizens, but also becoming a healthy community and all the way around. So hopefully in the next week, we'll have that order from the governor. My stance is that once we have the new guidelines from the governor, that puts us in the recovery phase for Hillsborough County. And in the recovery phase, you know, I really don't believe we should be operating under the emergency order at that point in time. And then the recovery phase, we should be operating under the order of the governor. And then hopefully we allow the order, which is the emergency order, which is approved every 7 days, to expire or to be rescinded. And then Plant City, Tampa, Temple Terrace, and the county can go about our normal ways of business of working together like we do anyhow, and working through the recovery phase of our economy and our system while at the same time being prudent and careful with the health of our citizens. Like you said, it's a fine balance, and obviously we're all going to work hard to making sure that we have a fine balance there. I would like just to mention that today we had our new numbers, and for those that weren't able to listen in on the call today in all of Hillsborough County and all of our hospitals, today we have 39 that are hospitalized, 20 that are in ICU, and we have 10 on ventilators. And I always get a lot of calls and questions about how many do we have that's been positive, that had a positive testing in Plant City. In Metro Plant City, which is our 4 counties, our 4 zip codes, we have 16, and our city limits, we have 10. So I really do want to give the credit to the citizens of our community, not just in the county, but specifically Plant City, for really taking to heart the well-being of our citizens and taking the measures seriously. And I obviously in the numbers that I feel for everyone that has been tested positive. I mean, we were anticipating way greater numbers than what we're seeing right now. So hopefully Plant City will continue to test well and to have great results like we've had so far. Our testing right now, as you know, at the Hillsborough County Center, right beside our courthouse, we are doing testing. We tested today. We had 31 individuals tested today. We will be testing also Wednesday and Thursday from 8 a.m. to 11 a.m. Just so that everyone's very, very clear, you do not have to have symptoms to be tested. Anyone is allowed to go to the testing center in Plant City, and you can go online and schedule an appointment, or you can simply just go to the county health, or not to the county community center there by the courthouse, and no one will be turned away. Everyone will be tested as long as we have enough tests. But so far we have an abundance of tests. So testing is doing well in Plant City. And again, to comment to all the comments that's been made by all the commissioners here, we do feel the pain in our community, you know, from those that are jobless and those that are companies that are working hard to be able to keep everyone employed. And hopefully here in the next 7 days, we'll have that roadmap so that the governor provides so that we can get everyone back to being full strength. And you know, on behalf of the commission and our city employees, we're going to do everything we can to help everyone, you know, to recover to full strength in our city. So that closes my comments out. Thank you so much. Madam Clerk, what is the next order of business?
Legislative public hearings. This is a legislative public hearing on an ordinance entitled, "An Ordinance of the City of Plant City, Florida, closing and vacating a portion of Henderson Way, subject to reservation of easement for water, sewer, and other city utilities."
Okay, this is a public hearing, and at this time we have a presentation by Ms. Julie Ham, the Planning and Zoning Manager. Ms. Ham, thank you so much for being with us tonight.
Good evening, Julie Ham, Planning and Zoning Manager. A request was received to vacate a portion of Henderson Way, the area shown in yellow. On March 23rd, 2020, the city accepted deeds for the right-of-way extension and utility easements. The applicant extended Henderson Way to the east as part of their site development area, which is the area shown in blue. The subject portion of Henderson Way is no longer essential or appropriate. There were no objections from reviewing agencies. Next slide, please. The area shown in yellow is the portion of Henderson Way to be vacated. Next slide, please. On December 11, 2019, the Planning Board voted 4-0 to forward the vacate to the City Commission with a recommendation of approval. Recommendation is that the City Commission adopt an ordinance vacating a portion of Henderson Way. That concludes staff report.
Okay, thank you, Ms. Ham. Does the commission have any questions for Ms. Ham? Seeing none. This is a public hearing, and the notice of this hearing, the public was advised to contact the clerk at least 48 hours prior to the public hearing, should anyone wish to speak, okay? Madam Clerk, did anyone contact your office to speak in the public hearing?
Mr. Mayor, we have Isabel Albert representing the developer. She's available, but we've received no other persons requested to be heard to speak for this public hearing.
Thank you so much. Ms. Albert, are you on the line?
Yes, I am. Good
Thank
evening.
you so much for joining this evening, and you may proceed, Ms. Albert.
Well, I have nothing to say unless anybody has any questions. Thank you for having this hearing tonight. I'm just going to sidebar here, but I'm really impressed with how you all are doing this at the City of Plant City. Very impressive and a great example for all to follow.
Well, thank you so much for your kind remarks. Really appreciate it. Does the commission have any questions for Ms. Albert? Seeing none, what's the pleasure of the commission?
Move for approval, Your Honor.
I'll second it.
Okay, we have a motion by Commissioner Sparkman and a second by, was that Vice Mayor?
That's Commissioner Dodson.
Commissioner Dotson, thank you. Is there any further discussion?
Just one comment. I always like to throw back history, Your Honor.
Oh, we love your history.
This portion of that Henderson Way was named after former Plant City Mayor Bob Henderson when that development was first built. So it was named after him.
I did not know that. Thanks for the history lesson.
Yeah.
Okay, is there any other discussion? Seeing none, Madam Clerk, please take the roll call.
Mayor Lott,
Yes?
Commissioner Dodson,
Yes.
Commissioner Sparkman,
Yes.
Commissioner Mathis,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Kilton,
Yes.
And the ordinance is passed with a vote of 5-0. That concludes our meeting this evening. I want to thank all of you. I think we had, David, we had over 50 people join us tonight, right? So we had a nice grouping of citizens that joined us this evening. We definitely appreciate you doing so. And we look so forward to joining you back in our chambers in the future. Hopefully it's not too far in the distant future. But again, we want to continue to have our meetings so that we can continue moving our city forward. Again, thank you for all your support and appreciation. This meeting is adjourned.